don't even know if it's working yet. Okay, let me refresh. Okay. Good evening. I hope we have some people with us this evening. I'm just checking to see if we're actually live. I usually have my assistant here, but my assistant producer is not able to help us today. So let's see what's going on. Let's see. Nothing at the moment. Because I can't see it.
Are we there?
Yes, well, let's just talk amongst ourselves while I check. So, hi, so I'm Kiki. This is Maddie.
Hi.
And Siobhan, of course.
Hello.
And I'm just going into see that we are live or not, and then we will start chatting because we have so many questions for Maddie.
Yeah.
And we have so little time. But yes, I think we are, because I'm getting some reactions here for people that are saying hello. I think Louise is with us. Let's see. It's just, it's so much easier to have someone help. It looks like we're live, but I can't actually see us. I'm just hoping that we're not sideways. Where are we? Okay, anyway, I think it's working.
Do you want to run behind and have a look?
Yeah, but yes, I can.
Yeah,
okay, I'll just see in a minute.
Quicker,
But I can't see. Can you see if it comes up there? Yeah, no, it's going out. We have, yes,
We are live.
people here. Yes.
Hey,
Hooray!
Yay. Hello. Hi, everyone.
All right, let's get started then. So very,
Facebook.
very excited this evening to have Maddie with us, and of course, very grateful to have Siobhan here too.
No problem.
So Maddie, we were just talking about introducing you, and I was saying, okay, so Maddie, introduce yourself, because I can't remember all the different titles that you have.
Yeah.
But you're a doula first of all.
Yep, I'm a doula, and I pretty much started my breastfeeding counselling at the same time, 2004. So I
Okay.
kind of had those two hats simultaneously
Yeah.
for the whole time. Then set up developing doulas
Yeah.
in 2007.
So
I've been doing
training
that
course,
for a
yeah.
decade now, yeah. And Doula UK Mentor,
Yeah.
doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm the lady in the Association of Breastfeeding Mothers that if doulas are feeling like they'd like to come along and do some breastfeeding training, then I'll talk to them.
Okay. You just forgot one little bit about being an author and
Oh, yes.
I've written a couple of books.
Yes.
And I'm on the editorial board of the Practicing Midwife Journal.
okay.
And my latest little foray is volunteering for AIMS. On the
Oh, wow.
helpline. So
Wow.
if any doulas out there who's have clients having issues getting what they want from their maternity services and they email into AIMS, then I might be one of the women who reply.
So I remember AIMS used to fax hospitals with letters. Do they still use the fax?
No, I don't think we've got a fax.
No, that's
So shall we just explain what AIMS is?
Yes.
Maybe for anybody that
Yes.
hasn't heard of it.
So AIMS is the Association for Improvements in Maternity Services. We're a charity that has been going now for 50 years. Don't
Wow.
quote me. A long time.
Amazing.
A long time. Anyway, the famous Beverly Beach was chair for
Yes, I
Oh,
remember.
yes.
for
Yeah.
40 years.
Is she still chair?
No.
Okay.
No. So we now have the wonderful Debbie Chippington-Derrick, who's our new chair.
Okay.
And we have, so I mean, Beverly was amazing. She used to deal with the AIMS helpline pretty much all by herself. Now we have a nice little crew of about 8 or 9 of us
Okay.
That's great.
who are on a rota, and we answer emails and we pick up the phone
Okay.
and people call in.
And then you don't use a fax anymore.
And we
That's
don't use
good.
it.
That's good to hear. But anyway, so we have a few people with us. If you have any questions, please add them in this thread just underneath the live video, and I'll try and pick them up and do my best to do that. But we have had some questions sent in to us already for you. So you kind of talked to us already about being a doula and being your breastfeeding counsellor with the ABM. But so what did you do before? What were you actually doing before you actually became a doula and doing all the work you do now?
Weirdly, I was running a publishing company.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of weird, but after university, I did that typical thing of, I don't know what the hell I want to do with my life, so I'll just run away to another country, and I went to teach English.
Okay.
I did English at university, so it was kind of, sensible to go and do that, and I bummed around Europe for a bit. met my husband in Spain.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's not Spanish.
No. No.
And then we came back to Britain and started teaching English here. And then out of that was born this little publishing company that specialised in providing maps
Okay.
for foreign students in the days before.
Maps, remember
mobile
those
phone.
things?
We
Maps.
had paper maps.
Yeah.
Well, you needed that
You
to
did
find
need
your
them.
way
Yeah,
around
you
before
absolutely did.
Google.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're probably easier to use than Google Maps anyway when you're
Yeah,
walking.
you don't need an internet connection to use them, that's for sure. Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
interesting.
So we wrote little guidebooks
Yeah.
and
Oh,
maps
wow.
for foreign students and tourists. And of course, that bit of history just passed us by, didn't it? Well, we were looking for something else to do.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't really like being a businesswoman with a briefcase. And,
Okay.
that didn't suit me at all. So I was definitely looking for an exit plan after my second baby.
And that's when you then thought,
During
I'm going to
my
be.
exit
So who
Yeah.
did you go and do your doula
I
course
did
with?
Paramana because that
Of
was all
course.
there was in
Ah,
those
yeah.
days, isn't there?
So
And when was that then? What year was that?
December 2003.
Oh, wow.
I took my little baby with me.
Did you? Oh,
and
so your
Liliana's
youngest
daughters
one.
looked after her.
Oh, wow.
They were still teenagers at the time. They put her in their little stretchy and took her to the park.
Oh, wow.
How amazing. Okay, so that's interesting. I had no idea.
No.
And I've known you that for so many years. I didn't know all those things. So
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
how did you get from maps to doulaing?
I don't know. How do any of us?
Yeah, that's true.
yes.
Somebody in the playground, in the preschool playground, and I said, I just don't. We don't want to run this business anymore. We've both got to find something else to do. And my husband was going back to teaching, and I was at a loss, and I was on maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, you're a doula." And I said, "Really? What's that?" And she said, "Well, when I had my baby, you came around with food, and you were really nice, and you were the only person who didn't tell me what to do."
Oh, so you were already doing
Yeah.
it without realising you were doing
Ah.
it. And somebody just happened to put a name on it for you.
That's right. Yeah.
And the rest, as they say.
So then
Yeah.
I googled and found one postnatal doula, hello Linda Hobbs,
Oh,
in Cambridge.
oh, Linda!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was involved with Doula UK, and I went for a coffee with her. She was so inspiring. I thought, I've got to do this, but I didn't know how I was ever going to afford to go and pay for the course.
Yeah.
And then about a week later, I went to Tesco's, went to the cash machine to check how much money I could afford to get out to go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And there was £5,000 in my account from tax credits back payments.
Wow.
So the universe
Oh,
paid for my
wow.
doula course.
Wow.
So then you thought, sod this Tesco
Yeah.
shopping. I'm
I'm
going
going
to.
bottle of wine.
No, not
Sign
Liliana.
up.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Oh, wow.
Really good. That's really interesting. And then you eventually then decided to start doing your doula course as well.
Yeah.
But did you start that with someone else?
With
Was
Linda
that?
Quinn, the other
Yes,
Linda.
the
There were
other
two Lindas
Linda.
in my life. Yes. Yeah. Linda was my mentor
Okay.
because were we the first generation of doulas to have mentors?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because when I joined in 2002, did my training, it was funny because it was only about 30, 40 to the UK. Yeah. So it was literally a ring around. I think we decided then around 2005, 2006, around that time, that it was going to have this recognition process, and then the mentors were introduced. I think a bit. I don't know if they were at the same time.
Certainly Linda was my mentor.
Yeah.
Immediately I joined.
Yeah.
January 2004.
Yeah.
And she was,
Yeah, so maybe it was
signed
then. It was maybe it was then. I can't remember. It feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah. So she
said one day to me after I was recognised, I want to teach a doula course before I retire.
Yeah.
So you used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
You can do writing stuff.
Yeah.
And so we taught it for a good 2 or 3 years in her house in Norfolk.
Yeah.
And then she retired and kicked me out the nest.
Oh, and now you have to do it on your own. No, so you now developing doulas are Maddie, you do it.
And so I'm in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Zara's down in Surrey.
Yeah.
Zoe's up in Blackpool.
Okay.
And Sophie's joining us next year.
Oh, how exciting. So you're 4.
Yeah.
4, okay.
Wow, that's great.
Excellent.
So how many courses have you got running all year round? Quite a few.
I probably do 4 or 5, and the others do 2, 3.
Okay.
So it's not huge,
No.
but we because it's supposed to be fun, isn't it? If you
Yeah.
push yourself and you do too many,
Yeah.
it's like it's tiring.
Yeah, it's like when you start doing too many births.
Yeah. It feels like a good idea.
Exactly.
At the time, doesn't
And
it?
then you're like, why did I book 3 clients in 1
Yeah.
month? Yeah, no, absolutely. So excellent. Okay, so I'm just checking to see if we have any questions on here. Actually, look, I managed to get it working. We can actually see ourselves now. Is that
Horrible.
good or
Don't
bad?
really want to see.
No, okay. Well, I'll turn on this computer a bit. I can see that I'm totally out of in the corner there. So never mind. I disappear most of the time. I just have to go like that.
Just lean in
Okay.
more.
Okay. The next question. So I remember seeing something. Oh no. Do you have any top tips for anyone that wants to become a doula?
Do your due diligence.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know about you, but a lot of people when they first get in contact, a lot of the questions are easily answered by reading our websites.
Yes, that's very true.
So, I think possibly just start at the beginning
Yeah.
and read all the pages
Yeah.
on all of the websites.
Yeah.
And then you'll very quickly find yourself with a little short list of
Yeah.
courses that might be up your street because they suit you because of location and price and just the feeling
Yeah.
you get from
from what you've read about them.
Yeah.
and from us. You
Yeah.
know, we're giving off a vibe, aren't we?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people will feel like, oh yeah, I want to sit in a room with that woman for a few
Yeah.
days, and then phone us up
Yeah.
and follow your gut. Yeah, I think that's my top tip really.
Yeah.
Is don't just go, oh, there's a doula course.
Yeah.
Just because obviously we're all following the same core curriculum, but you're going to get a different experience.
I did have someone ask me the other day, how do I know if I'm booking onto a course? Because there's so many when I'm looking on the internet. How do I know I'm going to be booking on one that's actually not going to be a con course? And I said, yeah, I know.
Concourse.
I know. So yeah, but I said, well, my suggestion to you is that you just look at Doula UK approved courses. Would you agree?
Well, I think there's a certain amount of accountability to the public, isn't there?
Yeah.
That we've got the core curriculum.
Yeah.
That we've all agreed on.
Yes.
And that we look at periodically to make sure that it's up to date and that we don't need to add anything. We all, I think we work quite successfully together in terms of, actually, do we all need to add something to our manuals? And so there's a quality assurance that we're trying to keep to.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth
looking at
the
those
list
courses
on the
first,
Doula
and then
website.
if none of those feel like the right thing,
then
then
you can-
yeah. But I do think it's worth going on a course where you're actually going to be in a group with other people.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah, I think it helps to actually
Other than
an online course.
oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, you can earn a lot online, but then it's getting together, isn't it, in the group?
Yeah,
that
and
makes
you're
the
going to be
difference.
working
So
with women,
important.
so
Exactly.
it's important that you,
Of course it is.
you're going to come into a room with, up to 10 is it?
Yeah,
I think.
okay,
You have to
12
have
12 is
courses
the maximum. Yeah.
of women from all different backgrounds.
Exactly.
So it's a good test of how you work with people from different backgrounds as well.
And aren't we going out there as doulas and saying to people, when you become a mother or a father, community is important.
Yeah, exactly.
And too many parents are doing this really hard job in isolation, and we're wanting to model that community is important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we're not showing
Gelling together.
the world what community means
Yeah.
as a community of doulas,
Yes.
then what's the point? We're not walking the walk.
No, we're just talking the talk.
Yeah.
And we certainly don't want to be those doulas.
No, we really don't.
If there are any of those doulas. But
Yeah,
it's important. I think it's really important that you meet up with other women.
Yeah, definitely.
So, So what you were saying there about the village and the family, like that actually kind of maybe leads on a little bit to your book, because I have there's one of the questions there. When is your new book out? But firstly, what's it called?
It's called Why Mothering Matters.
Okay.
And it's in the Why It Matters series with Pinter and Martin.
Okay.
So you've already done one book with them, haven't you? And that's called
Why Doulaing Matters.
Right.
Why Doulas Matter. And that came out in 2015. So I think it was one of the first in the series. I think it was mine and the hypnobirthing one.
Yes, yeah.
That came out around the same time, wasn't it? And Why Doulas Matter kind of wrote itself, because I've been writing in my mind for so many years, and it really just I vomited it out quite quickly.
Lucky you. I'm trying to do that
but,
right now.
It's like having a baby.
Yes.
I thought,
yeah.
oh well, this is easy.
Yeah.
People complain about writing books. It was I didn't have any writer's block.
No.
And so I was really egotistical for a little bit, and then I thought, I can do another one. Oh, this was so hard.
So this book's been...
Second baby was...
Well, did you get stuck at 4 or 5 centimetres?
Yeah, totally.
I know.
Totally.
And then had a complete, I
and then
can't do
had
that.
Awful transition.
Yeah.
Self-doubt phase.
Yeah, it was dreadful. Yeah, I was chucking laptops across the room. I can't do it. I needed a writer's epidural, I really did. It was really difficult.
But you got there.
I got there in the end, yes.
And that's coming out when?
So 25th of October. Pinter and Martin are having a little do at Ephra Space on the 26th, Friday the 26th.
Okay.
And it's mine, Rachel's induction one, and Claire Gorgin's cesarean one. They're all coming out on the same day. So I think that will be 3 really good ones. Cesarean and induction are the ones we really need out there for people to read.
Yes. But the whole Why Mothering Matters. So is this a book about the 4th trimester? Is this a book about being a... So what's it about? Being a mum?
I think it's a feminist rant.
Okay.
Actually.
Oh, that's good.
It's about how we're doing the most important job in the world.
Yes.
And we're not valued for
No.
that. We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. So you're either just a stay-at-home mum.
Yeah.
You have no status. You don't, no self-esteem because of that.
Yeah.
People consider that you're not contributing to society. Right?
Sorry,
You need some water.
Coughing. No,
Do you want
fine.
me to...
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Or you put your child in daycare and go back to work and then feel really guilty and possibly judged by people for not being at home and bringing up your children.
Yes.
And actually we paint that as a choice, except it's not, because for most women, economically, they don't have a choice. Either it's too expensive to go back to work because childcare's too expensive, so they have to stay at home even if they wouldn't want to, or they're too poor to not go back to work, and their family needs that income, but they're aching to be at home. So actually, if you look at feminism as being about choice and about autonomy over our own bodies and how we bring up our own children, it's the ultimate feminist issue.
Yeah.
Mothering. Yet I think a lot of the mainstream feminist thinkers haven't really spent very much time thinking about birth and motherhood.
No, because in one sense it feels like some of the feminist movement is about women's right to go back to work and not having to be a mother, as in that's an old-fashioned kind of view that women should be doing. But if women want to choose that as a choice, then that's another choice. It's not about one thing being better or right or wrong. It's a choice.
Exactly.
And actually I was talking about that last night, because I mean in Sweden it is pretty good in the sense that you have 18 months paid 80% of your wages maternity leave,
isn't it?
so you are getting paid to bring up your child.
It's valued.
Yeah.
So they're giving you that
Exactly.
real freedom to make a choice.
And a father can have that choice but of course the mother is the person that usually can breastfeed, for example, unless you're going to be expressing, that's a whole other story. But really the mother is the person that the baby needs in the first couple of years.
And I think that's possibly why you get to that point where it wobbles a lot of feminists,
Right,
because they're thinking actually we're veering onto biological essentialism
Yes.
here. You know, you're bringing women down to the status of
A feeding machine.
breastfeeder.
Yeah.
You know, we're not people.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, that's not necessarily how it is. You
No.
know, we should be allowed to just celebrate our differences.
Yeah.
Equality isn't about being the same as men, is it?
No.
We have superpowers.
Exactly.
And we should be allowed to express those if we want to.
Absolutely. So if you can have a choice, which in anything, in reproduction, and whether you want to be a stay-at-home mum or not, you should have that choice. But like you say, it isn't really like that. So this sounds a very interesting book.
Yeah.
Don't tell us the conclusions you make, because you're going to have to buy the book and read that. But
So where can they get the book?
Well, if you wanted, you could come to Everspace. It's free event, but you do have to do your ticket thing on Eventbrite.
Online, yeah.
And then you might get a signed copy.
ooh, signed by
But yeah, if you can't make it on the 26th, then Amazon, BenjaminMartin.com.
Brilliant. So
you can pre-order now.
I was asking Maddie, have you got a copy with you? But it's not out yet.
No.
So I have no copies to give away. Otherwise, I could have done a little giveaway thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, when it comes out, then you can do that.
We'll do a giveaway.
I'll give you a few copies, and you can do a little competition or something.
out of the people that are live right now, if I can see
okay,
that, I might not.
you
Yeah,
lot.
I will be able to go back to history and look. Okay, so brilliant. That's the new book. So, what's your favourite pregnancy or birthing book at the moment? Which one? What are you reading?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think everybody's banging on about Millie's book, the Positive Birth book.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know about you, but I'm going to a lot of rooms, a lot of clients' houses, and it's there on the
Yes.
coffee table,
Yeah.
and
Same here.
clients are giving it amazing thumbs
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So I think she's done a really, really good job of writing the book that we would want our clients to read,
Yeah.
but making it mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, that's incredible. We've been waiting a long time for that, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Somebody to do that. But Natalie Medding's book, How to Have a Baby,
Okay.
is absolutely
Oh, okay.
gorgeous. I mean, just the way it's designed and the pictures, and it's a beautiful book. You know,
Okay.
and I'm a booky kind of person, so that's really nice to hold and flick through. And Natalie's got a way with words that is very poetic. And
Okay.
it's a beautiful book. Very inspiring.
Well,
Brilliant.
that's one.
So some top tips for you.
add in, yeah.
Millie's book and
And
Natalie's
Natalie's
book.
book.
And they're
Yeah.
both doulas.
Yeah.
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 Written by doulas. So make sure you buy a book written by a doula.
Yeah.
But talking about that mainstream thing, so we see doulas. You know, doulas have been around in the been around forever. They're not a new thing. But when we look at America, for example, a bit ahead of us in terms of the doula movement, or whatever you want to call it, and in the US, doulas are kind of talked about in maternity care a lot. And but I know you have doula midwives and doula nurses as well in America, which is a little bit strange. We do not have that here. We have doulas, we have midwives. We're not the same thing. But you know, a lot of the maternity workers or maternity care providers will talk about maybe acupuncture and hypnobirthing and what other things, but they will not often talk about doulas with with pregnant women. So how do we? This is something I think about a lot. So I can tell I don't have an answer. But
that hopping over the fence
yes,
into
how
the
do we
mainstream?
get there? How do we
do
get?
that?
Why isn't that happening when the research out there really shows that doulas make a huge difference?
Evidence-based interventions.
Exactly.
Yes.
So how have you got any ideas with your role on the midwifery magazine?
So interestingly, it has been on my mind a lot recently.
Yeah.
Not just that kind of how do we get the wider maternity services to recognise what doulas are doing and to debunk some myths, because there are an awful lot of myths, aren't there, floating around in midwifery circles about what we do and the kinds of people we support, and they've all got loads of money. But also I think because actually the atmosphere has changed a little bit recently. I don't know about you, but it feels like we're not quite as welcome.
Yes,
as we used
I have
to be.
picked that up, which is sad. After if you think, I think we've come such a long way, and now we're starting to feel like we're going backwards a little bit again.
And I wonder whether that's something to do with the fact that we're sort of reaching a critical mass. You know, that there's more doulas. That's true. You can ignore them. Yeah. If there's only one coming into this hospital once every 6 months. Yes. But when you're seeing doulas almost every day on labour ward, suddenly you might
you have to address.
You might have to address that, or start feeling a bit grumpy about it. So I have been talking to practicing midwife, and we have got some plans to bring doulas in a bit more, and to give doulas a zone on the Awful Maternity website. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying anything about it.
No,
but
too late now.
It's too late.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Yeah. You heard it here.
Scoop.
But I think because I'm the only doula on that editorial board,
which is brilliant.
And I think I was really interested in taking that voluntary role because it felt like an opportunity for doulas and midwives to work together. Yeah. And for that magazine that's read by so many thousands of midwives, and if they open that and they see stuff about doulas. So I wrote an article with a midwife friend about the doula midwife relationship.
Brilliant.
So that hopefully little fairy steps by fairy steps, we'll be starting to kind of open some midwives' minds about what we can achieve when we work as a team.
But this is it. I mean, because I always think about us putting the women in the centre. So we're all helping, supporting her, and how can we do that the best way? Well, not by not working together. No. And we're not a threat to each other either. We are. And for me, I feel that's quite simple. Just put the woman in the centre of your care, and then drop everything else. It's not about who does what and who's the important one, and not really interfere with each other's stuff, as in making yourself more important than the midwife or vice versa, because none of us are really important. It's the woman that is. So,
and really, as I'm kind of quite like saying, can a woman in labour or a new mother have too much love and support? It's impossible.
Yeah. She can have bad support, and she can have some real working against everything that's going to help her have the baby at times, but not enough love and support. Absolutely not. So there you go. But I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's great news.
Yeah, that is really great news.
Watch this space. We'll see what we can do.
It will be happening, I'm sure. Well, it will now. But it's like you say, it's little steps. And then, because I felt we had taken quite a big steps with when I was part of Doula UK, me and Rebecca Schiller, we were the external comms, we were doing a lot of networking, like getting a seat at the table.
Conversations with the RCM.
Exactly. So we need
really
to continue
good work
that.
you did. And it needs to be done again.
It needs to carry on.
But things have changed also at the RCM, so maybe there's a few things.
Maternity services is at a turning point, isn't
Absolutely.
it? And, either we implement better births and we get it sorted, or everything's going to implode. Because I'm sure you see it just as much as I do. They're hanging on by their fingernails.
And it's really unfair, the kind of conditions now for a lot of midwives, especially. It's terrible,
and we're their best allies.
They're
mad.
That's what, exactly. We're there. Exactly.
We love them.
We
want
do.
To support
Absolutely.
Them.
So brilliant. So that is a good one. Good answer. I have a question. Moving on a little bit into more about douling. There was a question that came in about what's been your most successful ways of finding clients working as a doula. I mean, how much work as a doula do you do now?
I probably take on between 7 and 9 or 10 births a year.
Oh wow, still a lot of births.
Still a lot,
more than me.
But I do a lot of shared care work.
Okay.
So in Cambridge, we have a very close-knit community of doulas.
Brilliant.
And a lot of us are also teachers of some kind of hypnobirthing or yoga. So we've all got classes that we're teaching, and we're doing that juggle. So being able to work shared care is amazing. It takes the pressure off. You can carve up the on-call between you. So I don't go to all of those births.
No, but you. But so how did you start off? How did you get work? What's the most successful thing you think you can do as a new doula in finding clients?
Building your local doula community.
Exactly.
I don't understand why so many doulas seem to find that such a difficult concept to get their head around. It's like we come into doulaing with a kind of old-fashioned, very male attitude towards business, that it's about competition and territory, and I'm going to do this to that doula down the road because she might be poaching my potential clients. And of course that's absolutely, our business doesn't work that way.
Exactly. And that's what we talk a lot about in our courses as well. From day one we start that discussion.
Find your village.
Exactly. Because it's so important. And I had my first job from another doula.
I had my first job from another doula.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how it works. So what about Siobhan? What about you? How do you, because you go to quite a lot of births a year. How many would you say you do a year?
Anything from about 18 up to maybe 24 a year. Yeah.
So you do
again a lot of shared care
and backup. And
backup.
So how did you get your clients when you started out?
Well, for me, it was exactly that, reaching out to other doulas, offering to take them out for a drink. Yeah. That often works.
Yes, I wonder who that was.
It was Jen.
Yeah. What did I promise?
Ply them with alcohol and then, take all their clients off. And no, exactly that. Building up your community, finding, who's around you. Yeah. And meeting them face to face, eyeball to eyeball, to say like, let me help you, or vice versa. We can help each other out. Yeah. And a busy doula, if they can't take somebody on, they need to refer on to somebody else. Exactly. And if they've met you, they're more than likely going to recommend you than somebody they don't know.
Yeah. Because they'll be able to say, these clients. They'd really love
Exactly.
I can imagine that match would be one made in heaven.
Again, putting the woman in the centre of the care. Yeah. Or she's the most important one. So, exactly. That's brilliant. Now I'm going to do a little shameless plugging of the BBAC, the BirthBliss Annual Conference, which is for all doulas on the 7th of November here in Watford. And that's going to be a whole day about finding your village. So basically we're going to spend the whole day talking about connecting, networking and influencing. So watch this space. This is I'll let you in on the secret later. So if you can make that, it'd be great to come along.
Might be a good day.
Yeah.
And on this subject, I could plug Doulavation.
Yes, I was going to say, please do that. Yeah.
So I've got an online course, and it's a kind of, extension on from Developing Doulas or from BirthBliss. You've done your doula prep, and then you're out there in the world thinking, okay, so what next? And, we've given them some good tips on taking those first little fairy steps and setting up your business. But it can feel really overwhelming if you've never been self-employed before.
Yeah, that's the biggest
and
challenge.
There's a lot of business help out there, but it's not specifically for doulas. Yeah. And whilst there are lots of really the basics of business are the same whatever business you run, doulaing is very special, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yes, it's an online course. You can just work through at your own pace. There's no passing or failing. There's no time frame that you have to do it in or anything like
that's
that.
A great tool
and it's a constantly evolving resource as well. And we have a Facebook group to go with it. So if I add some more thoughts, there's lots of videos. So I make lots of videos, and if I put a new video in, I'll go on the Facebook group. And we have lives and conversations and get-togethers in the Facebook group as well.
So Doulavation.
Yeah, to elevate
Doulavation.
So do they find that through Developing Doula's website?
So you can go to doulavation.com. And then you can sign up there. Get in touch with me if you feel like you'd like to do it, because I've got some little secret discount codes
for BirthBliss doulas.
BirthBliss doulas.
For the BBs. And I'm sure any other doula maybe, but especially the BBs.
Of course.
The secret handshake.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to see, Doula UK, I'm just reading through. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have a little check to see if we've had any questions in, but my laptop keeps freezing, so that doesn't help. We have lots of people coming on here.
There's Zara. Hello, Zara.
Zara is there saying hello, and I can't get rid of that. I do have another question. I have some more questions, but I don't want to see. Everyone's just saying hello. I can't see anything. Okay, so Louise is saying about if you're gonna become a doula. She said she went to an intro day run by Doula UK, and that was really helpful. We should have mentioned that, absolutely. And in those intro days, you get to hear about all the courses that Doula UK provides.
It's a great day.
Good shout out there.
Actually, to attend.
Glad it helped the intro day. So that's someone they will having their own little discussion here. They're all looking forward to your book, Maddie. Yes, good. Helen, who came on my course, she read your Why Doulas Matter, and it spoke to her. It was the final piece in the puzzle.
Oh,
that's
really nice.
Yeah, and then she said it's a beautiful book. That's why she then came on to do the course. Yes. What's this one? Oh, someone said they haven't read it. They just ordered it. By Doulas Matter.
Good.
Brilliant.
Let me know.
It's a good one, isn't it? If you are thinking of becoming a doula, or if you're thinking of hiring a doula, it's it is a good book to read. Absolutely.
Yeah, it gives you some real. It's on my recommended reading list for all doulas.
And I did, yes, it's really useful for doulas to read it, but I did write it with the main reader being parents.
Yeah, parents. Yeah,
but I think that's helpful. I think that helps. So I have another question, which is quite a long question, but it's actually we're going to have to spend quite 5 minutes on it maybe, because we want to do this demonstration. Don't worry, we are still doing a demonstration, but we've just got completely carried away. I can't believe it's like 20 to 9 already.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
God, get 3 doulas together.
Right? I know, it's terrible. Don't you remember we had that discussion once about what do you call a group of doulas? And I think one of the suggestions was a gaggle. A gaggle of doulas. Because is that what geese are? Gaggles.
Yeah, gaggle of geese.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a couple of doulas, which is much more appropriate.
No, I like gaggle.
Do you?
Yeah, but because for me it's just a group. In Swedish, everything is a group of something. We don't have different. Yeah, I would say like a group of sheep or a group of hens or whatever. Maybe they are called that. No.
They've all got different names.
It's very complicated. Yes. Exactly. Why do that? Why just have one group of one?
It's the English language. It's not that simple, is it?
No, exactly. Anyway, so this is a question that came in from Natasha, one of the BirthBliss doulas, and she's mentioning aims here. But what she's saying is, she's wondering if dads. So she's talking about dads who have maybe more fed into this whole hype about how dangerous birth is and that you should not give birth at home, and she's finding that a lot of her clients who want to have a home birth actually decide they're not to have a home birth because obviously the father of the baby or their partner is saying, look, I don't think that's a good idea.
They're not feeling comfortable.
Yeah, and she's even so they all then have decided to have a hospital birth, and she's thinking, how do you get around this? And it is kind of touching on a lot of different things about, your right to choose, but also pleasing others, being the good girl. How do we? So what she wants to know basically, what kind of resource what can I do to help the dads understand better, but also empower the woman to choose a home birth?
Interesting.
Which is, she's saying here, she had a mum. So she's talking about one of her clients that was refusing to change her mind about home birth, and actually had the baby at home, and the baby arrived, we call it a BBA, born before arrival. So the doula was there was no midwife there, she was probably on her way, and it was a really, really quick birth, and the mum was really happy that had gone so well, but the dad or her partner wasn't.
Gosh, there's lots to unpick there.
I know.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it does bring up that birth is such it's on the intersection of so many political conversations.
Absolutely.
About feminism, about female autonomy and reproductive rights, about the social influences on birth. So the story that we have told ourselves as a culture of what birth is since the 1970s, which is it's a massively dangerous thing. Must do in hospital.
With a doctor.
We need to be rescued from it rather than exult in it, as Sheila Kitsker would have said. And unpicking that, which is now generations of ingrained feelings and fears, is probably more than your average doula can do in a few little sessions.
I agree.
But we have to attempt it. We have to have these conversations. We have to say, this is an opportunity for you to. I'm going to invite you to step outside of your cultural and historical context and look at birth from a higher perspective.
And also facts. I mean, it's a fact that if you have a healthy pregnancy, childbirth is 99.6% safe.
So here's the BirthBliss study.
Exactly, that's what I'm quoting.
Let's look at the facts. Let's look at why you think this stuff. Where have these ideas coming from? What were you told about birth when you were a child? Where were you born? Where were your parents born? How has this idea come in? And then I suppose, with her example of the BBA, I think we're trying to address as many potential outcomes for this story as possible antenatally, aren't we? So let's talk about BBA. Let's talk about the fact that even though you may have a story about birth in your mind of a first baby that's going to take days and be really slow and boring and painful and awful, and you have to go to hospital and have pain relief and actually some women just have a baby. And how would you feel, Dad, if this baby was coming and we'd called the midwife but she wasn't here yet? Would you be absolutely petrified and faint in the corner, or would you want to catch your baby? And what would we do, and how scary would that be? And so at least if you've talked it through and you've imagined it, if it does happen, maybe it's not quite as scary.
I think that's really important. But what I find a lot of the time, because I've got this online antenatal program now that I'm giving away for free, by the way, for anyone that wants to do it. But part of that is talking about all the what you would do in different situations and having that discussion. But part of it I've called when birth isn't straightforward, so different things that might happen. And so many women will say to me, I'd rather not look at that because I don't want to know about the things because I want to focus on having the birth I want. But do you know what that...
Don't you remember being like that? I was that mum.
No, I was
over the page on cesarean, not reading that. No,
I didn't really read anything. I just thought it's going to come out. So I'm probably not a good example. But what I see... And then... but I think it's important. What I wanted to say, I think it's important to know about these things because then you have options. If you just put a blind eye to it, like the dads, she's saying they get the information, she's showing them statistics and they're not convinced. And I found that with even my last birth or some of the births that I've been to, that it's difficult when actually birth starts for even if the partner has been part of the whole preparations, it's still difficult to know what to expect.
I think it's hard for the partners, isn't it? Because
absolutely,
there's a sense of responsibility on their shoulders. There's also that sense of lack of control.
They can't fix it.
They can't fix it. There's no plug on the end of it to mend it. There's no on-off switch.
No.
So it can be really difficult for them to process all those things.
Which is why we get so much great feedback from partners,
don't
we?
They're usually the biggest advocates
free them up to be whoever they need to be in the moment.
We are their wingman. But I think part of it comes from fear.
But it goes back to the whole thing we were talking about earlier about how we sort of plug into maternity services and become part of the team. Because I've done some work with independent midwives over the years, and of course you can say something to a couple and some of it might land, but maybe not all of it.
No.
But then if the midwife comes in and says the same thing,
Yes.
then it might land.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
They might not listen to something from her, and then the doula says it, and they're lapping it up.
Yeah.
So when we kind of ratchet together like that, it's so beautiful. It works so well.
Absolutely.
And everyone gets the support and the information and the education that they need.
Yeah.
But that sadly doesn't happen as much as we'd like it to.
No, but this is it. We have to campaign for that, I think. Yeah. So brilliant. I hope that was helpful for some of you. As in most of the questions and things that come up when you're a doula or you're working with pregnancy, birth, parenting, whatever, it's never a straight answer.
No.
There is, because everyone's different. Everyone
different,
and actually when you're a doula, you don't like to give that straight answer, because we want people to think about it and make the choice themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It depends on the man, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some people will like reading books, and they'll, and then other men would say, no, don't. I'm not going to read anything.
No, I'm just gonna. Or some might be risk assessors and have like a million questions for you. I had those as well, when you just I can't answer all the scenarios that might possibly happen, because even if I do, they might never happen.
No,
and then usually something happens that we hadn't thought of.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult. I think it's time to do. So we haven't talked much about infant feeding, breastfeeding.
No.
We haven't really had a chance, but you mentioned the thing about, if anyone that is a doula now and are thinking of becoming a breastfeeding counsellor, for example, you are the person to talk to at the ABM, because I know some of the other organisations, it became a little bit tricky for doulas to become breastfeeding counsellors, because it was seen as a bit of a conflict of interest.
Well, obviously,
or
if you're a charity and you're training women to go out there and be peer supporters or breastfeeding counsellors, that's what you want. You want women to go out into the community and provide that support and information for free. Mothers are never paying, at the point of contact for their breastfeeding support. So if you're a doula as well, then how do you juggle those boundaries?
Yes, of course.
And of course, it only takes one woman in a playground in a community to say, I had a brilliant breastfeeding counsellor. She only charged me £20 an hour because she was confused as to which hat you were wearing. Everybody's then brought into disrepute. So it's at ABM, we believe you absolutely can juggle those boundaries. You just might need a little bit of support and to spend some time thinking through how you're going to divide your life. Ethically, so that nobody ever gets confused as to who you're being at any one time. So, for example, the breastfeeding group that I run every week in Cambridge, I never ever mention how I earn my money.
No.
So, those women that come there, I'm a breastfeeding counsellor. They don't know I'm a doula. And if they go home and they Google me, which they sometimes do, and then say, oh, will you come to my house and I'll pay you? I say no. And I point them in the direction of other doulas, because I met them with my badge on.
Okay. Right.
So so I have that conversation, and in ABM we've got pathways that we can kind of triage people down depending on what they want. If they just want doula CPD, then they can come to ABM and they can get jolly good breastfeeding education that they can pay for.
Okay.
Or if they want to be a breastfeeding counsellor, then they can come and they can talk it through. But actually, any doula can ring me up, even if they're at that point where they're not sure which organisation might be the right fit for them. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I think at the moment it's only Breastfeeding Network that apparently is not training.
The BFN.
But
the La Leche League, so we've got La Leche, we've got the NCT.
And ABM.
ABM. Brilliant.
So
Maddie's your woman.
So if you get in touch with ABM, then Carla, our lovely admin, gorgeous woman, would put you on to me.
That's brilliant. So now you know if you want to go down that route. But in the meantime, I'm going to hand over. What do we need? Yes, I think. What should we do? We have about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then we need to
Right,
finish off. So what do you need from us?
So I'm just going to put this on here so that I don't get...
I'm going to just go behind the
water.
camera to make sure that everyone can see this. Because I think that might need to move. I might have to put that there. And let me check where the camera is.
Okay. So lots of people ask me...
Have to point that down a bit.
Where this demo comes from.
Okay.
And actually it's in old NCT antenatal education book by Mary Nolan.
Oh, because I always say it comes from Maddie.
Now, much as I would like to take credit for it, it's not mine.
It's not the only place I've ever seen. You know, I've only ever seen you do it.
Okay.
I've never seen it anywhere else. So
I think I've got it all in. Yeah.
So I think that actually what I'm going to do is do it the quick and simple way.
Yes.
Because I want doulas to be able to think, I can do this in someone's kitchen.
Yeah.
If you were running antenatal classes, for example, and you've got a little bit more time, then you could have a little box of tricks. So, I've got some sugar here to represent the carbohydrates, and you can talk about lactose being in human milk.
What's that all about?
I said baby bio, that you put it in your plants to make your house plants grow. Well, breast milk has growth factors in it, growth hormones.
Okay.
So, a little bit of food dye to talk about protein.
Right.
And salt to talk about minerals, pepper for antibodies, talk about all the lovely antibodies, some vitamins, talk about fat soluble and water soluble vitamins, and a little bit of garlic, don't put in, so you can talk about the flavours in the milk. What we eat goes through into the milk, and then that's a good thing because it's accustoming your baby to the food.
Getting
of your
ready.
tribe.
Yeah.
And then, of course, importantly, you need a bit of fat. A bit of fat.
So I'm behind the camera now watching. I love the little basket Becky Young says.
Yeah. She's like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, you've got to have a pretty little basket. Okay, so if you're talking about breastfeeding, maybe antenatally, and you're going to see your clients, you're sitting in their living room and you want to explain a little bit about how breastfeeding works, because how many of us have had those phone calls late at night, cluster feeding, everything's going wrong. We want to be able to forewarn them, don't we, that that's normal and why it's happening, and if you understand that it's normal, then psychologically it's easier to deal with. So you can run into their kitchen and grab this any time you want to, and then if you do get those panicky phone calls after the baby's born, you can say, do you remember we did that oil and water demo? And they'll go, oh yeah, okay. So all you need is a bowl with some water, bit of olive oil, and actually the cheapest old washing up sponge works best. And you can talk about how the breast is just with spaces, isn't it? Spaces inside those little milk producing cells that full of milk. And this sponge has got lots of little spaces inside at the moment. They're full of air, so we're just going to take the air out and fill it with this oil and water. Okay, and then you get 3 glasses. And you say, okay, so imagine it's 6 o'clock in the morning and you wake up and your breasts are
absolutely full.
Yeah, and you say, wake up, baby, wake up. And the baby latches on, and this happens. And the milk flows copiously and easy, and the baby hardly has to do anything, just hangs out of the tap, drinking a high volume of milk. And what do you think about the fat content in there, Kiki?
Oh, I think it can't be that much. No.
Can't see much, can we? No. So it's thirst quenching, sugar rich, morning, wakey uppy milk. Yeah. Soup course, lots of people call it that. Yeah. But then, and the flow will slow, and at this point the baby might come off, but fart, need a nappy change, sleep for a bit. All of that, and then start again. Yeah. And this time using their jaw and tongue to massage the breast a little bit more. You start getting lower volume, but more
fat content.
Yeah. And of course, you know, if in the old days we'd listened to the people who told us to time our feeds, we might have
ended after that.
Yes. Or even after this one. And of course, you know, lots of times baby will be satisfied.
Yeah.
But we all need our Sunday lunch sometimes, don't we?
Absolutely.
3 courses.
And the pudding.
With this lovely creamy pudding right at the end. And, you know, I have to really squeeze hard to get these little creamy droplets out. But it will go on forever.
And you can see, I hope, I don't want to move this too much, but actually, can I do zooming in? Oh, no, I can't.
Can you see the difference?
You can see, I think you can. If I hold these up in front of you, so that's the first one, that's the second one, and then you can see the fat content in the glasses, yes.
So obviously, it's not rocket science. The fat is coming out last because it's sticky. So just like it was sticking to the inside of the sponge, which is why it didn't come out in the first one, same in the breast.
Yeah.
Fat molecules are sticky, and so they stick to the walls of the ducts, and it takes a little bit of massage with the baby's jaw and tongue to make that fat come out. So the general rule of thumb is the higher the volume of milk in the breast, the lower the fat content of that feed will be. So this could be one feed, but it also could be symbolic of a day, that we've got generally more of this. We feel heavier and fuller in the morning, and as we go through the day, those spaces between feeds get shorter and shorter and shorter until, you know, 5-6 o'clock, baby suddenly turned into Velcro baby and wanting side, having lots and lots of little bits of this. Have you ever thought about what the evolutionary reason for that might be, for cluster feeding?
To help encourage your milk supply in the early days?
Certainly in the early days, you know, we want lots and lots of stimulation of the breast. Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of, if we fill our babies up with this in the evening, which is going to be slower to digest, we're going to get quiet babies, and we want that because there are tigers just outside the village. So if we've got crying babies, you know, in the dark hours, then we're going to attract the predators. So.
We're going to get eaten up.
Yeah.
So this shows. So when we get women who say, "I've got no milk left in the evening. There's nothing coming out. They keep feeding all the time," and
this is great because you're giving your baby all of this lovely double cream, gorgeous night milk. Yeah. And also, the lower the volume in the breast, the bigger a signal you're sending to your brain.
To the milkman, Phil.
To ratchet up production. The milkman is Phil.
Exactly.
That's
Phil
his
the
name.
milkman.
Phil the milkman. Exactly. Yes, we want lower levels of Phil, so we ratchet up production. So it is a perfect system. Yeah. It doesn't feel perfect when you're absolutely knackered.
No.
It's midnight and your baby's still feeding. So as doulas, we're just going to support women to find their coping strategies, aren't we?
And so what would you say, you know, to any mums out there perhaps that are listening, or, you know, pregnant women who are listening now, you know, what are your sort of top tips on realistic expectations in those early days of trying to establish breastfeeding?
That you're going to sit on your behind a lot, and so you might as well make that nursing nest as comfortable as possible, and you need a slave. You know,
why doula?
That is the technical definition of a doula. But you know, whoever that slave is, if it's not a doula, then it's your partner or grandma. But, you know, we didn't evolve to do this by ourselves, and we put an awful lot of pressure on ourselves to be coping. In the early days, when actually we evolved to have people bring us food and drink and do everything else so that we could just lie about and learn how to breastfeed and get to know our baby.
So this is brilliant. I hope you enjoyed it. It's worth tuning in for just the demonstration, wasn't it?
It's a great
Absolutely,
demo.
that is brilliant. And it's so easy to do.
Yep.
Yeah, so now you know how to do it. You can watch it over and over again.
Absolutely.
My top tip, if you're learning to do it, is this first glass, really hold it lightly, because if you put any pressure on, you'll squeeze more fat out.
Right.
So just let it come and then start to wean.
And I'd just like to point out that there is some fat in this one too.
Yeah, there is a little fat still in there.
No. Yeah. So, but we don't talk about fore milk and hind milk.
No.
It's all the same milk, so lose that straight away. And now we talk about responsive feeding, not demand, because again that word sounds very negative and
because
demanding.
Your baby is the only one who knows what they want at this
what they
point.
need.
Exactly.
Just like I know that I want a cup of tea and a biscuit, or I want
you want a full-blown meal. Exactly. Yeah.
Or always cake. All right, but brilliant.
Thank you, Maddie.
Do you know what we're at? But our hour is up. But I just want to do. Yes, it's been brilliant having you here.
Yeah,
it's been really lovely.
It's been really
Both we had such much fun. But I want to again. Your book is out on the
25th of October. You can pre-order now.
Woohoo! And you can come to the event in Pinter and Martin in Brixton on
the 26th.
26th.
Right.
And the Be Back 18 is happening on the 7th November if you want to come and find out more about finding your village. Wow. And I have a bit of a exciting news for my next live we're doing on the 4th of November with this very she's not famous, but she works with a lot of high profile clients. She's been a doula for Beyonce, the Kardashians.
Oh my God.
Yes!
And some people in very high places who
Yes.
we shall not mention.
Exactly, because we're not sure we can.
No.
So, watch out for the space. I'll be advertising that soon. But thank you again, Maddie, so much for being here. Thank you, Siobhan, as always. And we hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now I'm going to have to go and...
Oh, no, that wasn't very slick.